In January 2025, 7 hardy adventurers headed out on our annual Freeman River survival trek up the Freeman River. For 6 days and 5 nights, we would pull all of our gear upriver on custom toboggans and camp in canvas hot tents with stoves, and also make the transition to building survival shelters and Morris Kohansky super shelters. I saw this as an opportunity to build a new type of survival shelter that I have been wanting to try out in below freezing winter conditions. I call this shelter the Throne for obvious reasons, and this is what I discovered. The shelter design I dreamed up utilized a forest ecology with numerous coniferous trees close at hand. I needed to gather as many armloads of, in this case, spruce boughs for the bulk of the shelter. My design had the benefit of only needing a few small poles for the framework, so that all of the dead wood in the area could be utilized and used just for firewood instead of shelter framework. Some cases it pays to cut a tree that's going to fall into the river the next time it floods. Drop that tree and then just harvest all the boughs off of it. This tree's going to die, just like that one that's leaning out. The next flood event's going to take these downstream. So they're going to die. There's a whole bunch of them along here that are leaning like that. And so those are the ones I'm looking for getting a copious amount of boughs. The river used to be way over there, and it's slowly eating away this bank every year. When it floods, all these trees are destined to disappear. And that's my resource for boughs. I've given it a haircut, taken off the boughs. There's one more I can grab there. And I've got a substantial pile. That pile's up to my waist. So in a few minutes, by taking this one tree down, I've sacrificed one tree for all that gain in insulation and warmth for my shelter. I think I'll call this shelter the Throne for fairly obvious reasons. That's where I'll be sitting. And I'm going to run boughs right up and over the top. These poles that I've picked here, what I did here is I smoothed the inside right off. I took the branches off right to the trunk so it's smooth, but I left them like little needles or hooks all on the backside so that it would grab onto the boughs. Same thing over here. I left all these hooks. I'm going to pile more boughs here all the way up. So I think that's one tree, the one that I just cut down by the river. If I get 3, maybe 4 of those trees like that, that's compressed, so I'll probably have just about enough. And then it's just a matter of building a nice big 3-log fire here, and I'll sit in my throne. I won't be able to lay down and sleep, although I could maybe get into a fetal position. One of the positive things about this shelter is that in an area where there isn't a huge amount of shelter material, right? I don't have a lot of dead poles to build a lean-to or anything like that. All I needed was about 10 little poles, and the rest is all insulation. And then I can focus on all the dead stuff in this area being just for my fire out here. So it's not a permanent shelter, but we'll see. Tonight's going to be the test. This side's pretty much got her beat. But still got probably one more tree. One more tree down by the riverbank and just fill in that side. And I got to start to dry out my clothes because, of course, this with it snowing and so much snow on the trees, this is very wet work. As you can see, I'm sweaty and hot, but my wool has got a lot of snow on it and stuff. But later, when I light my fire, I know that I'm going to dry out. If I didn't have the means to light a fire, it'd be a bad situation because my clothes won't dry out and I'll get cold really quickly. So I've got this throne all finished up now. And here I'm going to have a 5-log fire fairly soon. And there's enough for a few hours, not for a whole night, but this is where I'm at so far. And there's the throne. Yeah, it's been quite the project. It took longer than I thought, even though I picked a spot right in these dense coniferous forests. It still took quite some time. And already I'm thinking, yeah, this is pretty cool, but it's a lot of work to get it up that high. I could have used all the same amount of boughs, which is a tremendous amount of boughs, and then a lower lean-to shelter, and it may have worked out just fine. The thing is, I don't like sitting so low, right? Getting something chair seat high is difficult, and getting all the material for the back and all that effort to build something higher. So this is why I'm trying this whole idea out. Let's go right inside there. I'm gonna flip around. Hop inside. Ooh, I'm really covered in snow. It's been snowing for 2 days now. Anyways, here we are inside. This is what it looks like going out. And so that'll be my fire right there. And it's a 5-log fire. The logs aren't as big as I'd like, but so it goes. I think it's going to take quite a bit of time for these boughs to warm up in here and like under my bum and stuff like that. And once that happens, it'll be warm in here. But until, like, the boughs are cold right now, right? Like any shelter would be. And until you get it nice and warm in here, it'll take a few hours of burning before that happens. It's not a long-term shelter, but it's a pretty cool shelter. Well, I'm liking it so far. I wouldn't say it's balmy in here yet, but I only just got the fire going, and I can definitely feel the heat. But like I mentioned earlier, all the boughs, they have snow on them and they're cold, so it's going to take a while for the inside of this little thing to warm up. But I see that the snow that's on everything is turning to ice balls now from the heat of that. But it's nice, it is actually snowing out, but the heat of the thing isn't showing the snow. And the smoke, because it's such a roaring fire, the smoke is just going straight up. It hasn't come in and smoked me out yet. I like that. We'll give it a little while and then have another video check. I think I should bring it a little closer. I know it looks really close, but just a little bit closer, and then the heat will really start moving in here. Awesome. Yeah, no, I really like it. I do like it. I like that I can sit up. I like that I can cozy down and sleep. I might even be able to sleep a little bit sideways like this. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Sleeping in open-faced shelters like this with a fire, sleep is often interrupted anyways due to smoke and hot, cold, shifts in the fire, and the need to adjust or add firewood. So it's often a disrupted sleep anyways. So sitting up like this isn't bad, because I mean, when you're stuck out here for a night, you don't want to just lay down the whole time. There are going to be, there's 24 hours in a day, and sometimes you'll be sitting up too. So it's nice to be able to sit comfortably with a backrest and stay warm and just doze off whenever you're warm and comfortable. And then be active whenever you need to get chores done. It's 15 below right now, 15 below Celsius. Pardon me. And because the fire's out there and I've got such a narrow entrance here, the fire is really creating a swirling up effect and carrying the smoke upwards. And it's not a windy night, but I'm getting no smoke in here, right? Like the odd wisp drifts in, but it's really quite smoke free. I'm liking that. Awesome. Plus I look cool. Wah! I am the king in my throne. Wah! What kid wouldn't want to sit in this thing? It's been about about an hour, and I've added just 2 logs on the top, and that's it. Yeah, it's warm. My bum's cold. The spruce boughs underneath my butt are cold, and my back feels cold. But I sat down against the cold stuff, right? The cold boughs here, so just through conduction I'm getting cold from behind and from below, because the fire hasn't had a chance to warm up my backrest or my butt rest, and so I feel a heat loss there. But the front of me is toasty warm, and I even nodded off for a little while there because it's been a long day. If I could do things differently, I would lower the roof a little bit. There's the roof up there. And condense it even smaller. And I would have started my fire a little closer yet. I'm not worried about the needles burning. They're green. They would have to get right in the flames, and yeah, then they would burn. But I still got a good space between the fire and me. And it's winter, right? The ground is frozen 2 or 3 feet down, and there's snow all over the place, and it's quite cold out, right? This is definitely a winter fire. You wouldn't be doing this in any other time of year other than winter. Not a fire this big. You wouldn't need a fire this big. You could have a small fire. My biggest chore after this night is done will be to put this fire out completely and make sure that the ground isn't caught on fire. You have to really dig and mix and throw snow in and mix until you can put your fingers into the ground and be sure that the fire is completely out. That's a beautiful ribbon of flame there, eh? It's just really cooking my knees right now. My face. I feel like I'm getting a suntan. Very nice. If that was 6 inches closer, I bet you I'd feel like 5 times hotter. It's just a little far back. So I could move the fire, or I could add more boughs behind me and then push myself a little further forward. But yeah, it's starting to drip in here. Things are melting inside here now. Very cool. I think it's time for a bit of snoozing.